Okay, today we're going to talk about how to throw a plate on the pottery wheel. Obviously you can see here I'm starting with a slightly larger piece of clay than I would for a bowl or a mug. And a lot of the technique with throwing a plate is the same as it is for throwing a bowl or a mug or a vase. But a couple of things are significantly different and are very important to pay attention to. And those are the things that I'm going to show you today. So of course the first and most important thing is centering the clay properly. But you notice I am starting with a bit of a wider, lower base here, because of course I am going to be turning this into a plate. Center it basically the same, a little lower, a little wider. Opening up my hole, same as you would for a bowl. Opening up the center the same as I normally would until I get about here. That's about where you would be with a bowl or a good sized vase. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press really hard on this rim, and what I'm doing here is I'm taking all of this clay here and I'm smearing it down and out into the plate shape. Now the thing you want to not do is pull this up and out and over, because then what you're going to do is trap goop and air bubbles in here, under here, which you don't want to do. So I'm pressing straight down into the wheel first, and then I'm gently with my fingers here pulling and smearing outward. Okay, let's give you an idea of what that looks like. So this is kind of a small-ish plate. I'm leaving a kind of a little rim of clay out here, because this will turn into the lip of the plate later. But now I'm going to go back here into the center, and starting in the center and pulling outward, I'm going to just smooth everything, flatten everything, and also I'm compressing the clay, which is going to strengthen it. Now I can always stop and check the depth if I have any concerns, or if I want to check different spots. Usually you can just look at it and tell, but I'm going to check that. So that's about a centimeter. Am I holding this in the right spot? Yeah. About a centimeter there, which is just about right. You could go a little bit thinner if you like, especially if and because you're going to trim this on the wheel after it becomes leather hard. And if you want to go thinner, you just do what I'm doing. Start in the middle and press slowly and gradually out, just drawing all that clay outward. Okay. Alright, now another way you can do this is to use a rib tool, which mine is not within reach, but the rib tool is like it's a wooden rib about this long and about that wide, and it has that nice rounded edge on it, and you just take that edge and work it back and forth along here, and that will help compress the clay and smooth it. That's an option, and you can definitely do that. But you can do it also with your sponge. I'm going to clean off the goop. Okay, take a final pass here and make sure it's nice and smooth. Okay, now to form your rim out here, I'm going to press upward with my thumb a little bit, and I'm going to pull up and over with my finger from the inside to basically open that out like that. Now, again, it depends on what kind of plate you want, but you can kind of do a deep dish by pinching and pulling it up a little further, or you can do a nice wide plate with a real generous rim. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is how deep plates actually are. To make them functional, you have to have a pretty good edge along here and a decent rim, because otherwise when you're eating food, if this is real shallow, the food will just flop right off the plate. So you really want a pretty decent scoop there. I'm going to even go a little higher on this. One thing, be careful not to press down along the edge here, because you don't want to create an indentation. You don't want this to be a bulge and then an indentation right at the edge of your plate, because that not only makes food behave strangely, but it just makes it look funny. If anything, you want a very gradual and gentle slope going down to the center of the plate, or flat, either way. So I'm going to dish that up just a little bit more, flatten that, check to make sure everything's smooth. And you can use a tool like this if you like, to create a sharp edge along here. That's just kind of a matter of personal preference. And sometimes I like to use it like a finger here and create a little spiral. But that's also kind of a matter of personal preference. And you have to keep in mind that any time you have any kind of relief or vertical, structure that sticks out from the plate, it's going to make it a little bit harder to clean and slightly harder to use. So in a lot of cases, smooth is going to be your best option. That's that. I'll do a tiny bit of finish on the rim here. And there we go. Now, also, what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to cut it free from the wheel, and then I'm going to leave it on the bat for basically just long enough for this rim to get leather hard, and then I'm going to sandwich it with another bat, sandwich it, squeeze them together, and flip it over so that it'll be sitting on the rim then, and the base can be up in the air, exposed to the air to dry to leather hard, and then I'll trim it on the wheel. So that's that. Enjoy your plate making.